Lock her up. HOA Karen screamed as officers shoved my crying 5-year-old Sophia into a prison van. She's violated neighborhood rules 17 times. The metal doors slammed shut on my terrified daughter. Karen had no idea she just imprisoned the child of Federal Judge Martinez, sealing her own fate. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. No. Daddy, help me. Sophia cried, reaching out her tiny arms as the men dragged her toward a white prison van parked in our driveway. Margaret Thompson, the HOA president everyone called Karen, stood there with a satisfied smile, holding a thick folder of papers. She was flanked by what looked like federal marshals in full uniform, complete with badges and handcuffs. What the hell is going on? I shouted, running after them. Mr. Martinez, Margaret said coldly, your daughter is being arrested for multiple HOA violations. She's destroyed neighborhood property, disturbed the peace, and violated noise ordinances. According to our new partnership with federal authorities, children who commit repeated offenses can be detained. I watched in horror as they opened the back doors of the prison van. Inside were metal benches, bars on the windows, and a small holding cell. This was a real federal transport vehicle. She's 5 years old. I screamed. Old enough to follow rules, Margaret replied. Sophia has been cited 17 times for playing too loudly, leaving toys on the lawn, and picking flowers from common areas. The federal penalty for juvenile repeat offenses is detention until parents pay full fines plus court costs. The officers pushed Sophia into the van's holding cell and locked the metal door. My little girl was crying hysterically, pressing her face against the bars in her bright yellow dress. Daddy, don't let them take me. Your total debt is $8,500, Margaret continued, plus federal processing fees of $15,000. Until you pay $23,500, Sophia will be held at the juvenile federal facility. What Margaret didn't know was that I had been keeping my real job secret from everyone in Willowbrook Estates. I wasn't just David Martinez, single father. I was Federal Judge David Martinez of the U.S. District Court, and what she had just done was kidnapping a federal judge's daughter using fake federal authority. The prison van started moving with Sophia locked inside, crying for me. Margaret handed me official-looking papers with federal seals and signatures. These are the arrest warrants, she said proudly. Signed by Federal Judge Richardson. Your daughter is now property of the federal detention system until you pay. I looked at the documents. They were incredibly detailed forgeries, fake federal letterhead, counterfeit judge signatures, false case numbers. Someone had put serious effort into making this look legitimate. This is insane, I said. You can't arrest a child for HOA violations. New federal law, Margaret smiled. The Neighborhood Compliance Act of 2024. Children who repeatedly violate community standards can be detained as juvenile delinquents. I helped write the legislation myself. The van disappeared around the corner with my daughter inside. Neighbors had come out to watch, some looking concerned, others nodding in approval. Margaret had convinced them this was legal. Where are they taking her? I demanded. Federal Juvenile Detention Center, 40 miles north of here. She'll be processed, given a uniform, and assigned to a cell. Visiting hours are Sundays only, for 1 hour if you've made payment arrangements. Mrs. Chin, my elderly neighbor, came running over. David, this can't be legal. It absolutely is, Margaret snapped. I've been working with federal authorities for months to crack down on problem families. Mr. Martinez has been defying HOA rules since day one, and his daughter has been just as disrespectful. Margaret had been targeting me since we moved to Willowbrook Estates 3 months ago. As a single Hispanic father, I didn't fit her vision of the perfect neighborhood. She had issued dozens of petty violations: grass too high, car parked incorrectly, Sophia's toys visible from the street. But I had endured it all because Sophia loved our new home. She had made friends, was happy, and felt safe. Until today. As soon as Margaret and her fake federal marshals left, I pulled out my phone and made a call that would change everything. This is Federal Judge Martinez. I need an immediate federal response team at my location. My daughter has been kidnapped using forged federal documents. Margaret's face went white when she heard my title. I also need the FBI's kidnapping task force, the U.S. Marshals, and Homeland Security. Someone just impersonated federal officers and abducted a federal judge's child. Within minutes, my phone was buzzing with calls from real federal agents, state police, and FBI investigators. Black SUVs started arriving at our house. Miss Thompson, I said loudly so all the neighbors could hear, you just committed multiple federal crimes. Kidnapping, impersonating federal officers, using forged government documents and child endangerment. I was just enforcing legitimate HOA rules, she stammered. You kidnapped the daughter of a federal judge using fake federal authority. Do you understand what you've done? The neighbors were staring in shock. Mrs. Chun was calling other residents to tell them what was happening. Margaret's perfect plan was falling apart. Special Agent Sarah Williams arrived first, followed by a team of FBI agents and U.S. Marshals. I showed them the forged documents Margaret had given me. These are excellent forgeries, Agent Williams said. Whoever made these has done this before. We're looking at a major criminal operation. Within 1 hour, our joint task force had tracked the prison van to an abandoned warehouse complex 30 miles away. Using the van's GPS and cell tower data, we located the exact building where Sophia was being held. When our team surrounded the warehouse, we discovered this wasn't just about my daughter. Inside were 12 other children ages 4 to 10, all locked in makeshift prison cells. They were wearing orange jumpsuits and had been told they were juvenile federal prisoners. Sophia was in a small metal cage still crying for me. When she saw the real FBI agents, she screamed, "Are you taking me to another jail?" "No, sweetheart," Agent Williams said gently. "We're taking you home to your daddy." The moment Sophia saw me, she ran into my arms sobbing. "Daddy? They said I was a bad girl. They said I have to stay in jail forever." I held her tight, feeling her small body shaking. "You're not bad, baby. These people are the bad ones. Daddy's here now." We arrested the fake marshals, who turned out to be hired actors with criminal records. The Federal Detention Center was actually a human trafficking operation that Margaret had been feeding children to for months. But this was just the beginning of Margaret's nightmare. Back at the real federal courthouse, I learned the full scope of Margaret's operation. She hadn't just targeted my family, she had been systematically kidnapping children throughout the county. Using her HOA position and fake federal authority, Margaret had arrested 15 children over the past 6 months. She would create impossible violations, let fines accumulate, then have the children detained when families couldn't pay. The fake detention center was actually selling the children to labor operations. Kids as young as 4 were forced to work in factories, farms, and construction sites. Margaret was paid $10,000 for each child she delivered. One family had lost their twin boys, ages 6 and 7, for repeatedly riding bicycles on sidewalks. Another family lost their 9-year-old daughter for picking dandelions from common areas. A third family lost their 8-year-old son for playing ball games too close to houses. When confronted with this evidence, Margaret tried to claim she thought it was all legal. But recorded phone calls told a different story. "Make sure they look scared," she said in one recording. "Parents pay faster when their kids are crying in the van." The story exploded across national news within hours. HOA president kidnaps federal judge's daughter using fake federal authority became the biggest story in the country. Margaret's photo was on every news channel and website. The story had everything: corrupt authority, child trafficking, fake government officials, and a federal judge fighting for his daughter. Cable news networks ran the story 24/7. Social media exploded with #JusticeForSophia hashtags. The video of Sophia being dragged into the fake prison van went viral, generating millions of views and national outrage. Neighbors who had supported Margaret for years started coming forward with their own stories of harassment and impossible fines. We discovered she had been running the HOA like a personal kingdom, stealing money and using her power to terrorize families. The other HOA board members claimed they knew nothing about Margaret's trafficking operation, but FBI investigation revealed that 3 of them had been helping her by creating fake federal documentation and providing lists of target families. As a federal judge, I had to recuse myself from Margaret's case to avoid conflict of interest. But I made sure she got the best prosecution team in the country. Margaret Thompson was charged with kidnapping 16 counts, human trafficking 16 counts, impersonating federal officers 8 counts, using forged government documents 25 counts, conspiracy to commit human trafficking, child endangerment 16 counts, extortion 47 counts, wire fraud 12 counts, money laundering 6 counts. The charges carried a potential sentence of life in prison without parole. Her co-conspirators on the HOA board were charged with conspiracy, fraud, and aiding human trafficking. The fake marshals were charged with kidnapping and impersonating federal officers. The trafficking operation leaders were charged with running a criminal enterprise. During the trial, I testified about the day Margaret kidnapped Sophia. When I described my daughter's terrified face as those fake officers locked her in the prison van, several jurors were crying. She was wearing her favorite yellow dress, I said. She had been playing with her dolls under our oak tree, completely innocent and happy. Then these strangers grabbed her and threw her in a cage like she was a criminal. The prosecution played the recorded phone calls where Margaret discussed payment arrangements with the trafficking ring. "I can get you 5 more kids this month," she said in one recording. "Just make sure the van looks official. Parents don't question federal authority." Margaret's defense attorney tried to argue that she genuinely believed she was helping enforce federal law, but the evidence was overwhelming. Bank records showed payments of $10,000 for each child she delivered. Text messages revealed her planning fake arrests weeks in advance. The most damning evidence was a recording where Margaret laughed about terrorizing families. "You should see how fast they pay when their precious babies are crying in the van," she said. "It's like printing money." The jury deliberated for only 4 hours before finding Margaret Thompson guilty on all charges. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Federal Judge Patricia Williams, who handled the sentencing, delivered words that will stay with me forever. "Ms. Thompson, you used fake federal authority to terrorize families and sell innocent children into slavery. You preyed on parents' worst fears and turned a position of community trust into a weapon against children. This court sentences you to spend the rest of your life in federal prison where you belong." The other HOA board members received sentences ranging from 15 to 25 years. The fake marshals were sentenced to 20 years each. The trafficking operation leaders were sentenced to life in prison. But the real victory was seeing all 16 rescued children reunited with their families or placed in loving homes. The 6-year-old twins went back to their parents, who had been searching desperately for months. The 9-year-old girl was reunited with her grandmother. The 8-year-old boy went home to his father. Sophia needed months of therapy to recover from her trauma. She had nightmares about being locked in the van and would panic if she saw any official-looking vehicles. "Daddy, are the bad police coming back?" she would ask whenever she heard sirens. But children are incredibly resilient. With love, patience, and professional help, Sophia began to heal. She started laughing again, playing with her dolls, and singing the songs her grandmother taught her. The hardest part was explaining why Margaret had done this to her. How do you tell a 5-year-old that an adult she trusted had tried to sell her? "Some people have sickness in their hearts," I told her one night as I tucked her into bed. "But most people are good, and good people will always protect children like you. Will you always protect me, Daddy?" "Always, baby. Forever and always." 6 months after Margaret's conviction, Willowbrook Estates had completely transformed. The residents voted to dissolve the old HOA and create a new one with strict oversight and transparent rules. Mrs. Chun was elected as the new HOA president. Her first act was to eliminate all existing fines and create a community fund to help families in need instead of punishing them. The neighborhood became a real community. Families looked out for each other, children played freely in the streets, and no one lived in fear of arbitrary rules or fake authority. Sophia made close friends with other children whose families had been targeted by Margaret. Together they formed a tight-knit group of kids who supported each other and understood what they had survived. I used my position as a federal judge to push for new laws preventing HOA abuse and fake authority schemes. Sophia's Law, as it became known, created strict federal penalties for anyone who impersonates government officials to harm children. The law also established oversight requirements for HOAs, preventing them from creating fines that could be used to target families. No homeowners association can now claim authority they don't legally possess. I also worked with the FBI to create a task force specifically focused on identifying and shutting down fake authority schemes. Margaret's operation was part of a larger network operating in 12 states, all using similar tactics to traffic children. The case had far-reaching effects beyond our community. HOAs across the country were forced to review their policies and prove their authority was legitimate. Thousands of fake fines were overturned, and dozens of corrupt HOA officials were investigated. I received calls from other parents whose children had been taken by various fake authority schemes. Our case gave them hope and showed them that justice was possible, even against people who seemed to have official power. The FBI used our investigation as a model for identifying other child trafficking operations that used fake government authority. We discovered that this tactic was more common than anyone realized. Most importantly, the case raised national awareness about how authority figures can abuse their power to harm vulnerable families. Parents became more vigilant about verifying the legitimacy of anyone claiming government authority over their children. The experience changed both Sophia and me in profound ways. Sophia learned that she could survive terrible things and that speaking the truth helps protect other children. She became more confident and compassionate, often asking me about my work helping other kids. For me, the case reinforced why I became a federal judge in the first place, to protect the innocent and ensure justice for those who abuse their power. Seeing my own daughter terrorized gave me even deeper empathy for the families who appear in my courtroom. "Daddy, when I grow up, I want to help kids like you do," Sophia told me recently. "You already do help, sweetheart," I replied. "By being brave and telling the truth about what happened, you helped save all those other children." 2 years have passed since that horrible day when Margaret locked Sophia in the fake prison van. My daughter is now 7 years old, confident and happy. She still remembers what happened, but it no longer controls her life. Margaret Thompson remains in federal prison, where she will spend the rest of her life. She never showed remorse for what she did to the children, claiming until the end that she was just maintaining neighborhood standards. The other rescued children have all healed and moved forward with their lives. Some families moved away to start fresh, while others stayed and helped build our new, stronger community. Sophia often plays in the same spot under our oak tree where Margaret first targeted her. But now she plays without fear, surrounded by friends and neighbors who truly care about her safety and happiness. This story isn't just about one corrupt HOA president or one trafficking ring. It's about the importance of questioning authority, protecting the vulnerable, and never giving up when someone you love is in danger. Margaret Thompson thought she could intimidate me because I appeared to be just another single father in her neighborhood. She thought her fake federal authority would terrify me into compliance. She had no idea that she had just kidnapped the daughter of a federal judge, someone with the real power to expose her crimes and bring her to justice. The irony is perfect. She used fake federal authority to terrorize families, not knowing she was targeting the one person who could mobilize real federal authority against her. But even if I had been just a regular father with no special position, I would have moved heaven and earth to save Sophia. That's what parents do, we protect our children no matter the cost. Sophia is thriving now. She's in 2nd grade, loves to read, and wants to be either a judge or a teacher when she grows up. She still plays with her doll Maria and sings her grandmother's songs. Every morning when I drop her off at school, I watch her run to her friends with that same bright smile she had before Margaret tried to destroy our lives. She's safe, she's loved, and she's free. And Margaret Thompson will never hurt another child again. The fake prison van that once held my terrified daughter now sits in an FBI evidence warehouse. But the real prison, the one where Margaret will spend the rest of her life, serves as a permanent reminder that justice always finds those who prey on children. In the end, love conquered hate, truth defeated lies, and a little girl's laughter once again fills our home. That's the most beautiful revenge of all.